Hey everyone, I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee. You're watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Leading things off, our first guest is the director of the New Settlement Parents Action Committee. He's here today to speak about his organization's collaboration with the LSNY's Education Department and to highlight their renewed focus on providing better mental health services for students in our community. So please welcome to the show, Chauncy Young. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Bob.
Tell us all about it. We hear all these great things that you guys are doing. You're really digging into the community and you're making it all happen. Tell us more.
Sure. I mean, why don't I start with saying a little bit about the New Settlement Parent Action Committee? Not everyone might not know about us, although we're one of the oldest parent organizations in the Bronx. PAC grew out of New Settlement's after school program. So started in 1996. So we're getting 25 years this year. And really was about parents coming to the after school program and being concerned about, the equity that was happening in terms of quality of education that students were receiving in their school in District 9, PS 64. And from that, really grew out to be a parent-led organization that's fought around issues of equity and collaborated with the Department of Education to improve the quality of education in the Bronx and throughout New York City.
I like it. Chauncy, let me be the first to say, or can I sing it to you? Happy birthday to you. The organization is celebrating 25 years. Of course, that's a milestone. We appreciate all the work that you guys are doing in our community. Tell us about the services offered by the New Settlement.
Sure. I mean, New Settlement is itself, a community organization that's been based in the Mount Eden section of the Bronx for, about 30 years. So New Settlement itself, has after school programs. We have housing in the area. We have a community center. We do adult education programs. We have programs for young adults. So it's a really comprehensive, nonprofit serving the Mount Eden and Bronx community. We have one of the only swimming pools. So we built a school, the New Settlement campus, in conjunction with the School Construction Authority. And we built a community center there that we run in conjunction with that school. And in there's dance programs, martial arts programs, and a learn to swim program, as well as a lifeguard program. So those are all pieces of New Settlement as an organization. And the Parent Action Committee, really focuses on doing workshops, parent-led workshops for parents, teaching parents, one, how to navigate the Department of Education, your rights as a parent, your rights around special education, language access, healing-centered schools, social emotional supports, all those different components, so that parents really have the skills and the ability to really navigate the system and support their families and get the most out of their children's education.
Yeah. And at the school, you have a task force?
Well, we have lots of different activities. Not a tennis course in the tennis court in the school, but we do have in the school there's a basketball, full gymnasium.
Sorry. I said task force.
Oh, task force. So yes, I'm sorry. So the task force on healing centered schools has been around. We set this up this past year. The New Settlement Parent Action Committee has coordinated the Healing Centered Schools Working Group along with Legal Services New York and the Bronx, sort of as a coalition looking of parents, educators, community members, looking at trying to address sometimes the harmful school practices that happen and really trying to support students, with social emotional needs, mental health supports, And this workshop was, this coalition has been in existence for 3 years. We set up the task force with the public advocate, Jamani Williams,
Yes.
this past June, really to talk about what pieces of a healing-centered schools approach we would like to adopt in schools when they open in just a couple of days, and when this program is shown after schools have reopened.
There you go. What are some of the things that you're doing to work in collaboration with the schools in order to help them to keep safe or to enter the building safely?
Sure. One of the key components is really mental health training for all school staff. So we partnered with the Department of Education and connected them with a mental health training program based out of Chicago, where all school staff for the last several years have been trained on trauma responsive educational practices. We also partnered with creating a parent ambassador program. So over 800 parent leaders throughout the city were trained this July and August to be healing-centered schools ambassadors for their schools, and to work collaboratively with those school staff to really try to develop school transformation teams to work on developing healthier practices like restorative justice practices, social emotional supports for students in crisis, cultural responsive educational practices and curricular changes that can make sure that all families feel included, and looking at language access issues and making sure that all families feel part of a family school community partnership.
Chauncy, speak about the Parent Action Committee's collaboration with the LSNY Education Department.
Sure. Yeah. So Legal Services New York and the Parent Action Committee have collaborated for decades, really looking at supporting students' needs. We work together as part of the Bronx School Justice Working Group space that we came together over a decade ago, where we've been working with the Department of Education, school safety officers, and community organizations across the Bronx, looking at how we can reshape schools. We've done training for school safety officers, and we collaboratively created this healing-centered school working group space 3 years ago to really looking at developing a healing-centered approach for schools. So that's sort of about our collaboration with Legal Services New York. Yeah.
How does this action committee hope to serve the mental health needs of our students?
Well, as you know, Bob, even prior to COVID, a growing number of students, throughout New York City, throughout the country, have been dealing with mental health issues, whether it's depression, anxiety, and these issues really were exacerbated with the COVID-19 situation, when students were isolated. This whole Zoom environment that we're in right now became the norm. And so part of the piece is, when you have over half the students having mental health issues, is that staff really need to know how to manage situations. Sometimes students that are disciplined might be acting out because they're not feeling well, and really looking at how we can support those students and those families instead of disciplining those students. And honestly, giving training and supports to families themselves, because families don't always have the skills to support their student when their child might be having a mental health crisis. So really providing support both to families and to the school community. And so folks are collaborating together instead of punishing children that might be acting out because of a crisis that they're going through, either at the home or at school.
Yeah, I like the idea that the parent involved too, so everybody can be on the same page, the parent, teacher, and the community, even if they have a faith-based organization that they're working with. It takes a village to raise a family. Parent, teacher,
Completely.
student, clergy, the whole five,
Completely.
the whole nine.
Completely. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So are you ready for back to school?
Well, I mean, I think as many people are, so many parents are concerned about the situation going back to school with this rise in COVID cases and the issue with limits to vaccination. But we are trying to do everything we can to support that anxiety, to work for alternatives for parents and students that don't feel safe returning to school right now, but also preparing the schools and families to enter a new environment. You have students that might not have been in school for over a year and a half, students that are entering a new school building where they're now a sophomore in high school, but they've never really been a freshman in that building. So there's a lot of different issues that are coming up in this time, and I think everyone is sort of trying to be there to be supportive in this moment.
Well, Chauncy, we thank you for all the work that you're doing, helping in the edification of young minds. Where can we go for more information? Where can we find you and find out what your organization is doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'd recommend folks go to our New Settlement webpage. You can see the Parent Action Committee's work, but you can also see all of the different programs, including our girls program and, our young leaders programs that are there. So it's newsettlement.org. You can also find the Parent Action Committee and New Settlement on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook with activities that are coming up. So find us on our webpage or anywhere on the web.
Well, Chauncy, thank you. And tell Adrian we said hello. Wave a hand.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for your service and all the work that you guys are doing in our community and within our schools. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much, Bob.
All right, we'll take a break. We've got more open coming up next.